the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, just a few issues there. I should be up and running now, it should be fixed, as we haven't really missed too much other than Tim Bentinck has passed and Richard Beasley have passed Sam. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure why it just started to buffer weirdly, but yeah, it's my apologies. I'm working on it as best I possibly can. Not sure why it done that, but either way, Sky Schondermeyer is still putting pressure on the back of Jamal Clouden. And Jamal Clouden just not making any inroads on Skunky High. Meanwhile, Matt has just pulled away from S2M Borobex as we're now getting rain, ladies and gentlemen. Just as it's getting a little bit interesting, we have rain once again. Am I losing internet problems here? I'm just going to get rid of some internets right now and just see if that helps, or get rid of some on my phone at the minute. But at the minute, guys, it is now starting to rain here. I'm not sure why I suddenly had an internet buffer, but we should have everything running smoothly. As Gary Leach now is just struggling further back. He's just not able to stick with his train. Goudet currently in 11th, and I believe Bell. Nope, they're all pretty much in sync still, as S2M Borobex has got some pressure from Tim Venting. Tim Venting looking to the outside of the Ginetta and trying to work his way through. And Tim Venting thought about sending it into turn one, but thought better of it. But S2M Borobex just hanging in there with the rain coming down. Conditions right now are greasy. So it's not really wet tyres yet, but the cars were starting to feel a little bit loose, a little bit sketchy. And if you're in a Ginetta, I would really favour these conditions in that car. Meanwhile, Skunky High leading away. Jamal Clouden through the curbs they go. Sky, much better run through there. Sky gets right on the back of the BMW driver. Meanwhile, Tim Venting's had a moment. He's bouncing all over the curb, but these cars absorbed the curbs quite well. And S2M Borobex holding the line of Astons. Meanwhile, Sky Schondermeyer is attacking Clouden at the minute. Clouden running a little bit wide. Sky's right there. Sky thought about sending it up the inside. And right now, Sky wants to try and gain every possible point he can. I believe there isn't any drop scores, and he's got the run. He's got a good exit. They're going to go side by side, but Jamal Clouden, though, with the better track, the better straight line speed from the BMW, managing to pull away. And Duffin is probably rubbing his hands together. You boys keep racing, I'll catch up. And S2M Borobex still defending from the trio of Astons behind him, but the leading one is the pink car of Tim Venting, who's right behind them. As we've got Richard Beasley also looking for a way through as well. S2M Borobex defending the inside. Meanwhile, Tim Venting tries to go around the outside. He has a better exit, though, to have the inside next for the left-hander. They get close together, and Tim Venting makes contact, pushes S2M Borobex very wide. As S2M Borobex tries to get back on track and just gets in front of Richard Beasley. That's going to allow Sam a better exit and a better run, as they then head down towards turn one. Jamal Clouden are just struggling with the rear. We go back to Richard Beasley and S2M Borobex. S2M Borobex runs wide again, and that's going to allow Sam this time up the inside and gain a position. So the Ginetta, they're just struggling as they're still side by side going through the uphill section. Sam running it really close to the wall, but managing to avoid it. Meanwhile, Clouden and Sky Schondermeyer going at it for second and third, and Sky just cannot find a way through at this minute. And S2M Borobex has lost out to Sam there. What else is going on? Not really much else going on further down the pack. It's pretty much this three-way fight. As Tim Venting's already dropped the screw. Sam's gone very wide, and that's allowed S2M Borobex up the inside, and through he goes. Gary slowly creeping onto the back of these two. They're still side by side going at it. As they then go into the left-hander, S2M Borobex should have that advantage. Meanwhile, Sky still trying to find a way through on the back of Jamal Clouden. Good evening, Sutty Apex in the chat. Jamal Clouden put up a great defense here. Meanwhile, Skunky High has had this race under control. Fastest lap to his name as well. So he's going to take maximum points here. But Jamal Clouden still ahead of Sky. Richard Beasley still on the back of Tim Venting, so that could be interesting. Sam and S2 and Burbex have their own little squabble going on, and that's allowing Gary to get back into this scrap as well. He's slowly creeping onto the back of them, while everyone else is pretty much in place. The rain is meant to get heavier very soon, but I don't think it's really going to change from Greasy as Skunky High leads the way quite comfortably. Sky's got a great exit out of the final corner, but once again that BMW in a straight line just out drags the Aston and should have him covered as they head down towards turn 1. And Clouden just abusing the curbs, and Sky's got to run. Sky Shondemeyer has got to run up the inside, but once again the BMW grunt will help Jamal Clouden. He's sticking there, and he felt better off it to lift and try and get back into the slipstream once again of the Aston Martin. But Sky Shondemeyer has got the job done and is up into second place, but he goes very defensive straight away. He knows that BMW is much faster in a straight line. Is Jamal Clouden brave enough to go round the outside into the bus stop? They make contact. Somehow they manage to both survive the chicane, and Jamal Clouden's still there. But Sky managing to hold on to that position. Great driving there from the pair of them. A little touch is all was needed. But Jamal Clouden looking like he's coming back at him. He's going to go around the outside once again. But he's into the marbles already. Runs a little bit wide. He just needs to stick with the Aston and try and out drag him in the straights. That's what he needs to do. And he's already going to send it up the right inside into the right-hander. Sky gives him the space and respect. A little twitch there from the Aston, but he gets a better exit and able to pull away. But Jamal Clouden's got the straight line advantage once again. This is where the BMW is so much stronger. And he's going to look to the outside again. Is he going to get the job done? Jamal Clouden around the outside, but Sky should have the traction and grip. Meanwhile, Tim Venting's pulling away from Richard Beasley. Now Gary Leach has caught onto the back of Sam. But we go back to this fight between Sky and Clouden. Great racing from these pair. Sky runs a little bit wide. Jamal Clouden didn't really know what to do with that. He was kind of stuck in no man's land. But once again, this is where he needs to stick close to the Aston. He needs to be able to stay close to him going through the final sector and then use that straight line advantage going up towards the bus stop chicane. Try and get a good exit out of turn 1. Into the corner they go. Sky's probably gone a little bit too deep. Yes, he has. He has a slide. This is perfect for Jamal Clouden, but he's probably a little bit too close. Yes, he is. So he's got to go the long way round. And it's not worked for Jamal Clouden. He got a little bit too close. He did not need Sky to have that moment, but Sky and Jamal Clouden going at it side by side now down towards the bus stop. Sky trying to squeeze him as much as he can to the bus stop, just giving him a car's width, and Jamal Clouden's ahead. Is he braver on the brakes? He has to straight line the chicane, and they both make contact. Sky and Jamal Clouden come together. This time it didn't work. It's getting wetter and wetter, boys. And all this is doing is allowing Duffin, Ventink and Beasley to catch the pair of them. So one lap possibly left, and they have allowed themselves to get caught by the chasing pack. Meanwhile, Skunky High has had it pretty easy and pretty simple out front. He's long gone into the distance. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden and Sky Shondemeyer have been fighting hard at it. Meanwhile, Gary Leach has managed to pass... who's he managed to pass? Sam. So Sam's had a moment somewhere. He's dropped down the path and he's got major damage to his car. S2 Burbex has pulled away from Gary Leach. So possibly contact between Gary Leach and... trying to look at the front. Maybe a little bit of damage from his car, but Sam has lost out on that one. Great racing from the two in front, except for that little slight contact. But Jamal Clouden has allowed the Aston Martin to get a breathing space and has pulled away now from him. And Sky can't keep doing that too many times. And Tim Ventink's now attacking Matthew Duffin, as Matt is very tight to the inside of the circuit, and he's low on fuel. That's got to be fuel. It can't be for wets, surely. That's got to be for fuel. And Sky goes wide. Clouden goes wide. So does Tim. Beasley keeps it under control. But Matt, surely that is fuel. He's got to be possibly kicking himself, because even if that was tyres, one lap, you might as well just try and survive it. It's got to be fuel. Meanwhile, Clouden has got the straight line advantage, but he's not close enough to Sky to send it into the chicane. Jamal Clouden's running out of time, and Sky's keeping it pitch perfect all around the circuit. A little wobble there from Clouden, and that's possibly ruined his chance to try and get the move done. Meanwhile, Duffin comes back out on track. Raiden and Goudet are going at it as well, but that's allowed Tim Venting back in front and gaining points on Max Mulder. Skunky High not quite to the end of the lap yet, as Tim Venting's gone very deep, very wide, and he's in the wall. Tim Venting's got damage to his car. Beasley gets through. Esso and Borobex is not close enough. Jamal Clouden pretty much pushing the ass the outside again. Sky trying to brake later. Clouden tries to get the undercut, but he can't do it. Where's Skunky High? There he is. He's now coming into the final sector. Started on pole, led from the lights, and led all the way, no problem whatsoever. Skunky High on debut wins in the GT4s. Congratulations to him. He takes the first win here tonight. So congratulations to Skunky High. As we look to the back here, and it's now between Sky and Clouden. Clouden trying to get a better run, but it is going to be Sky Schundelmeyer to the line to take second place. Third will go the way of Clouden. Fourth will go the way of Richard Beasley. Fifth will go the way of Tim Venting. Sixth is going to be the way of S2M Borobex. Gary Leach is going to come across the line in 7th place position. Holling is going to complete the race in 8th. With mixed conditions, it possibly really tested the cars here, as Holling is going to come home for 8th place. Raiden's going to finish in 9th. 10th is going to be Clouden. And I think Matthew Duffin is going to come home for 11th place in the end. He finishes ahead of Smokey. He looks like he's ran out of fuel. Sam is going to come home for 12th place. Smokey Devil is going to cruise to the line. It is DJ Phil in 13th. Darren Bell is going to get Smokey Devil right at the end, but Smokey Devil will finish in 15th place position. Wow, dramatic racing there, but it was Sky and Clouden having a fantastic race between them. Brilliant stuff from them. Awesome racing. But it was Skunky High who takes the race win from Sky Schundelmeyer from Jamal Clouden in third. We will be right back for race 2. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified, and we shall see you in a few moments' time. Don't go anywhere.
Green light, go, go, go. line. Give it all you got.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and what an interesting qualifying we are going into. We have now returned back from our little break. The guys had a little bit more practice underneath them, and they come into qualifying with really wet conditions now. It's not going to clear for yet another 30 minutes. It could be 20 minutes. The rain could clear and we could see a dry session possibly at the end, but it's unlikely to. But yeah, the rain is here. Now, this should be the interesting. Ballast is now out of the question. The ballast should really make no real effect to the cars in the wet conditions, but we shall see. But what I'll do first is get a poll going for who you think will be on pole here at Watkins. Reminder as well, these guys got a 15-minute qualifying session to try and produce their fastest lap, and this will set the grid for race 2. Obviously the ballast will carry on as what the first race was, and Skunky, by the looks of things, had some good pace in that race, so we'll give him a shout out for possibly pole position. But nonetheless, get your votes in on who you think will take pole position here tonight. And while that is going on and these guys doing their first couple of laps, we'll look at the Drivers' Championship standings as of round 5 is done. It's now Tim Ventink leading the way, 21 points ahead of Richard Beasley in second. Third is Matthew Duffin, and in fourth place is now Max Mulder. Fifth is Jamal Cloud, and sixth is Sky Schondermeyer. The top 6 separated by 52 points, so they're still quite close between the top 6 drivers. Senna still sitting in 7th with 8th and Sam. 9th is Esteban Borex, Holling in 10th. Janetta of Gary Leach in 11th. Mercedes of Barrett in 12th, not here tonight, while Raiden moves up to 13th. 14th is Bell. In 15th place is Croupiers. 16th is Ian Gray. 17th is Kimberly. 18th is Skunky High. 19th is DJ Field. Diz in 20th. 21st is Michael. 22nd is Cardoff. 23rd is Smoky Devil, and 24th is Dean Masaki. 25th is John Goudet. Now we could have Dean Masaki back into the session, but he cannot qualify. He can only sit in the pits, but he will be able to do a race 2 if he chooses to do so. But this should be an interesting qualifying session for sure. I honestly don't know who it's going to go to, but I do think that Sky's got a good shout. I haven't said Sky in the poll, but Matthew Duffin is the first one, I think, on a lap, as he will come through these very tricky wet conditions. And obviously these guys probably mainly tested in the dry, and now he's got these wet tricky conditions ahead of them for the qualifying session. This should really spice up the grid, and like I said, the track's already gone to damp, so it's not been raining. It was wet the start of the session, so it's gone to damp. It is drying relatively quickly. 10 minutes time is drying up even more, so we still see some greasy conditions. Who's brave enough to go on the slicks? I know a certain Northerner would definitely give it a go, but slicks aren't a million miles away. We're only in damp conditions, so it might be whoever's last on track sets the fastest lap. But it's going to be Matthew Duffin to set the pace. Gary Leach gets right out of his way as he prepares himself for his running lap. And Matt, though, into the final corner. Ran out of fuel, Matt. He's now managed to do what me and Mike have done. Both ran out of fuel. You can't have the joke on that one now. As he comes to the line, he sets the pace of a 2:01. Anyone going any faster? Not as a minute. No one's really set a lap time, so Matt, the first one to put a lap time on the board, as Beasley crosses the line and goes half a tenth quicker. So there is a lot of time to be gained. Skunky High exiting the final corner in his Janetta, looking very strong on the exit of that corner. He comes to the line and doesn't put a lap time on the board, so he was not valid on that one. So this is going to be the tricky thing. Raiden next to the line, he's got to put a lap time on the board. Then it's Holling in the number 3. So to see how these two get on. Alpine and Porsche. Raiden to the line. He gets the lap time on the board. And Holling goes to third. And Phil usually tends to go into the pits and never see him again. So, yeah, we won't see the rest of him for this session. DJ Phil in the Chevy Camaro coming to the line. No lap time on the board for him. Then it's Tim Venting next in the Aston Martin. We'll see how quickly these guys get up to pace, as majority of you reckon that Skunky High should get the pole position on this one. Tim Venting really pushing the limits there. He runs a little bit wide, but into the final corner he comes. Really enjoyed these GT4s. It's been nice to see him back on track. As Tim Venting comes to the line, he goes fastest, half a second faster than Richard Beasley behind him. Then it's Darren Bell, who looks like he's opted to pit. Yes, he has. And then we got the 68 of S2M Borough Becks coming into the final sector. Then we got Gary, Matthew Duffin, and I believe that Sky Shundermeyer also behind him. So all these guys on a lap time as of the minute, as S2M Borough Becks comes towards the line now. And no lap time for him. Does Matthew Duffin improve? Currently third at the minute. He does a little bit, but not enough. Sky, though, goes within 4/10 of Tim Venting. Then it's Richard Beasley to the line, currently fourth. He now goes into second. Gary 131, no lap time from him. That is John Goudet coming up behind. And no lap time from John either. We've now got Jamal Clouden out on track. No lap time from him, but Skunky High has gone fastest, and he's 2/10 ahead of Tim Venting, who's now coming out of the pit lane. And I do think this track is going to dry relatively quickly. We've got a yellow flag, not sure who, but it's gone again pretty quickly. It is now DJ Phil coming into the final few corners. He's going to get a lap time on the board. Yes, it is still valid. He exits the final corner. Towards the line comes DJ Phil. And DJ Phil will go into 7th place. So he gets a lap time on the board. Currently 1.4 off the pace of Holling. And then we look to the 96 of Sam. Currently not on a valid lap by the looks of things. You can start to see a dry line starting to form there. And Sam Crossley, yeah, it was not a valid lap. We now look to the 131 of Gary Leach, who is currently on a lap time. Track is drying relatively quickly. Now, it's stopped saying that it's going to dry up, or ease off, sorry. It says in the right-hand corner what the weather conditions are doing, and it stopped saying it's going to ease off. Gary has now invalidated his lap time, so we now look to Skunky High once again on a lap. I think might have, oh, he's just kept it within track limits there. And most of these guys are invalidating their lap time at the minute. The next car that is on a valid lap time, I think, is the 64 Darren Bell after Skunky High. And then back to DJ Phil once again. And Skunky High has gone way off there. He's lost his lap time. And it's back to Darren Bell, who's currently setting a lap time at this stage. But the tricky wet conditions here, obviously drying as well. And it's really going to be putting the drivers in a tricky position right now. So Darren Bell looks like he's invalidated his lap time again and moves out of the way. It's then DJ Phil once again on another valid lap time. So let's see what he can do. DJ Phil goes down the main straight now, currently a little bit off the pace. Has he improved? He has found some time and improves on that and moves himself a little bit closer to Holling. And looks like he is done for that one. And again, no one really setting any lap time. Still not to set a lap time is Max Mulder, Gary Leach, Goudet, Smoky Devil, Bell, Sam, S2M Borobex, Clouden. I believe actually Smoky Devil was not allowed to qualify. That's why he's still in the pits. John Goudet just not able to get the lap time together. And Gary Leach just trying to find something. There's no one on a valid lap except for the 64 of Darren Bell, who's been on a valid lap for a while and just not been able to complete it. But at the minute, Skunky High is the man setting the pace. And not really much going on at the minute. Guys, if you haven't done so, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And also, while you're at it, scroll down into the description below to look at our fantastic sponsors of Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Go and follow all their social media and their websites if you want anything involving their brands. And also as well to the drivers and everyone else as well, if you want to be a part of the Patreon support. The Patreon support, obviously, just a 3-month payment each month to help us out run the stream here. You'll be able to reserve your race number in every category that you run in. Prioritize in sign-ups and events, so you'd get the first priority, and you get help in the track suggestion towards the future seasons, pre-season images, and also we get to share your social media links a lot more on the channel. So you could do, if you are interested in that and want to get yourself signed up to the Patreons, that would be amazing. And that's all in the Discord. Meanwhile, we got Darren Bell coming to the line. He does finally get a lap time on the board, but only puts him 10th. Who is currently on a lap? It is the 68 of S2M Burbeck's, the leading car on a lap time. And then it's Richard Beasley. And S2M Burbeck's had a big moment and into the wall hard. That outside curb catching him out as Beasley touches the same curb, but is able to run it a lot better. The 24 Sky Schundermeyer also on a lap time. And you can see the stricken Ginetta in the corner there as Richard Beasley now on a lap time. I do think the last couple laps is where the best conditions are going to be. This is where it's all going to work out for who nails that lap. And Richard Beasley, though, trying to get a little bit of a slipstream off the back of his friend Sam to go into the right-hander. But it's still Skunky High leading the way. The 55 of Matthew Duffin is currently on a lap in his Ginetta. Can he keep it together? He needs to find 7/10. Hopefully he should be able to find them on this lap. As Richard Beasley now comes to the final sector. Any improvement from him? That's the question. Currently sat in third. Can he take pole position? He's on a roll with him and he's sitting second in the championship. To the line, no improvement. And those are the tables at the minute. It's actually Sky fastest in the first sector, while Skunky High is dominating at the middle and final. And Skunky looks like he's improved. Yes, he has. He's found another couple of tenths. He's now 7 tenths ahead of Tim Ventink, who's not on a lap. The next one on a lap is the 64 of Darren Bell. All he needs to do is keep it facing the right way. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin looks like he's got traffic of DJ Field. DJ Field gets out of the way. Darren Bell, though, to the line in his BMW. Any improvement? No improvement from him. We now look to Matthew Duffin, who's on a lap time 1.3 off the pace at the minute. Just a good tidy lap sometimes is all you need, as Richard Beasley's just invalidated his lap. Gary Leach, meanwhile, did put a lap together. He goes into 6th place. That was invalidated for me, but he does manage to get a lap time on the board, and he now goes top of the top 6. And Matthew Duffin now coming to the line. 1.3 off. Any improvement? No improvement there. We now look to the 96. We're now starting to get these last car runners here. Sam on his last lap. Beasley's done. Anyone in the pits now, it is done for them. And I believe Sky Schundermeyer, yes, he's done. So all these guys at the minute out on track are the last ones on a lap time. Will Sam sneak in one more lap? Max Mulder currently staying in the pits, as the number 3 Holling has now gone back to the pits. It is the number 8 of John Goudet. Now, he didn't put a lap time together earlier on. Is this a lap time? No, it's not. So this is it, now or never. But we look to the 43 Yeah, the 43 of Tim Ventink, who's the first one to complete a lap time. The 36. Is that the 36? Sorry, 26. No, 36 of Jamal Clouden, not putting a lap time together. He's not been able to put a lap... Oh, yes, he has. He goes fourth. Jamal Clouden finally gets a lap time on the board as Tim Ventink crosses the line, and he's done. He will sit in second place position. It is then the 64. I believe Matthew Duffin is still on a lap. Where is the 64? That is Bell. He's currently on a lap, but he's choosing to pit. Gary Leach is done. He's returned back to pits. Matthew Duffin, though, still on a lap. Sounds like also DJ Phil was on a lap as well. And then it is Goudet who's the last one to cross the line. If he's not invalidated, here's a lap time. It's now gone to damp, or still is damp, but a lot less rain. But Matt coming now into the final corner. 1.3, it was literally going to be whoever was last across the line. And Matt, is he going to find that magical 1.3? No improvement. Matt does not improve. DJ Phil to the line. He does improve and go to 10th. It is now just John Goudet to put a lap time together. Obviously, if it was invalid, we'd be returning back to the pits. But John has kept it going. Oh, big slide there from the BMW. Into the final few corners we go. And John Goudet into the final corner. Just needs to keep it in limits. He just does. He's going to get a lap time on the board, which he needed to do. And towards the line he comes. And he goes into 12th place position. But it is Skunky High after his first race win. Here he now goes and puts it on pole position as well. So good lap time from him. Tim Ventink will start second. Then it's Richard Beasley in third. Fourth is Jamal Clouden. Fifth is Sky Schundermeyer. Sixth is Matthew Duffin. Gary Leach will be in seventh. Sam in eighth. S2M Burrobex in ninth. DJ Phil in 10th. L Holling in 11th. And once again, we've got lovely conditions here. In about 30 minutes time, we should have some heavy rain. This could get interesting. This get spicy. We get a poll going once again for race winner. Let's hear you guys in the chat. You've been relatively quiet here tonight, and it'd be nice to hear from you guys. What are you thinking to the GT4s? Are you looking forward to the GT3s returning next tomorrow? I was going to say next week then, but yeah, they'll be here tomorrow. As I believe the Pro-Ams might have similar weather to this. There's a rain lurking around for them, but the pros are looking like it's going to be, from what I remembered the guys telling me, it's going to be a hot one and a risk of dehydration for any heavy activity. But luckily for us, we've got fans and stuff like that, so we're all right, so we should be fine. There is your poll on who you think is going to win this one. So you've got Sky High, Tim Ventink, Richard Beasley, and Jamal Clouden. If you think anyone else is going to win this race, feel free to put it in the chat as well. So like I say, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. For the GT4s, like I said, this is their halfway stage. And regarding the calendar for the rest of the season, it looks a little bit like this. We're currently at Watkins Glen for round 9. For these guys, there's still Zandvoort, Zolder, and Valencia left, and also the same for the Pro and the Pro-Am boys. Zandvoort is the next track we go to, the home of the Dutch drivers. I believe it's a home circuit for Max Mulder and Tim Ventink and a few others as well. And we'll see how the GT4s get on now. They should be relatively good around that circuit. It should be good to watch for those guys. But the season's coming to an end relatively quickly. not just for the GT4s, but also for the GT3s. They've been awesome as a side package for us, and yeah, I would love to keep these on and see if we can have these running for next season as well. Maybe do something different with them, maybe add an hour-long race, I don't know, maybe a longer 30-minute race, who knows. But obviously, if you are a part of the Discord, then obviously put your suggestions in on what you would love to see if you want to add some spice to the GT4s. But if you do want to be a part of the action here, sadly this was the last week of sign-ups for all the events. I think GT4s you can still enter, but for GT3s we're not taking any more drivers on as we're getting to the back end of the season and championship standings. But we do still have endurance races coming up soon, and we'll have some off-season events as well. Myself and John Goudet will probably be getting something arranged for the Gran Turismo fun events that we always end up doing anyway, so keep an eye out for Gran Turismo information. And we'll possibly do another fun event for the Ginettas. Maybe we do another FBR versus SimPlay, or maybe we'll do something else. Maybe we'll try and introduce the Super Treveos or the Ferrari Challenge, or do just do a fun night's worth of racing. Maybe a bit of rallycross, who knows. But obviously we like to hear you guys and what you want for suggestions in the chat. Reminder as well, like I said, like and subscribe, hit that bell, and look at our fantastic sponsors as well, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Tomorrow night, like I said, the Pro-Ams will be returning back to circuit, and myself and Matthew Duffin will be bringing you all the action here at Watkins Glen for the 9th round of the season. And then obviously Thursday night, Matthew Duffin will be back in the commentary box once again, bringing you all the action for the pros, with PN Motorsport joining him in the commentary box as well. And like I said, these boys will get used to these big, wide open circuits of Watkins Glen, and then they head to the very tight, twisty Dutch circuit of Zandvoort next on the calendar. It's going to be an interesting week of racing next week, but we got to get through Watkins Glen first. It is Ginetta versus Aston Martin on the front row. Tim Ventic, not a lot of weight on board, but he looks very fast in that Aston Martin. Can he take another race win? Sky High in first, and looking to try and control this race as best he can. Richard Beasley in third, but keep an eye on Sky Shondermeyer, Matthew Duffin as well. We're in dry conditions and it's possibly going to rain as well. We are at round 6 of the GT4s here at Watkins Glen for race 2 tonight as we wait for the green. And we are green here in the 95 of Max Mulder. Has got a drive through at the back of the pack. He will have to serve that straight away, get it out of the way. But it is going to be Sky High leading into turn 1. Tim Ventic is going to be right behind him. I'm going to try and slip into the slipstream and try and pass the Ginetta as best he can. Everyone's surviving the first couple of corners here as they head up towards turn 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Tim Venting has got a great run on the back of the Ginetta, while everyone else just feeds into the slipstream as Sky High needing to defend by the looks of things as Tim Venting tries to get into the slipstream and attack him. Sky High going to compromise his entry into the bus stop, but he manages to keep it together. But Tim has a fantastic run through there, and it's going to look to the inside. Sky High is going to try and squeeze him, and they somehow don't manage to make contact. And Tim Ventic's still there. Everyone else managing to get through the corners relatively at ease. Max Mulder has dropped to the back of the pack, so Max, his championship is a little bit unfolding. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin still on the back of Sky Shondermeyer and Richard Beasley, as Tim Ventic now has to just fall in behind Sky High and just follow him around a little bit. That weight is now starting to kick in. Jamal Clouden with that straight line advantage in the BMW is going to be sitting right on the back of him, and everyone relatively clean except for Max Mulder, who's had a horrid start here and drops to the back of the pack. Tim Venting though very good on a race pace, so he should be able to give Skunky High a hard time. And through the middle sector, final sector they go, and as you can see, Skunky High not running away. There's the pack still all relatively close to one another, which is nice to see as we get lap 1 done and dusted and out the way. But what can Tim Venting do? He's run a little bit wide there. That's going to allow Skunky High to get a better exit as they all relatively rub the walls, and a lot of them just clobbering them on the exit there as they head down towards turn number 1. Once again, Jamal Clouden, that BMW grunt, looking to outdrag the Aston as they all push to the track limits there of the first corner curb. Up the hill they go. Tim Venting looked like he's had a great one. Meanwhile, Sky Shondemeyer and Richard Beasley are going side by side up the hill. And Sky can't quite get the job. The two Genettas are Matthew Duffin and Gary Leach, not really doing anything. And here comes Clouden and Tim Venting. And they make contact, Tim Venting and Clouden. And Tim Venting's going to go straight on. He misses the bollards and he's gone round. So Tim Venting messes that up. And now releases Jamal Clouden. So the two championship leaders are dropped it and dropping in the points. Meanwhile, Richard Beasley has been thereabouts and is looking to try and make a way through. Meanwhile, Max Mulder has cleared his drive-through. And I think now this should allow Skunky High to then break away unless Jamal Clouden could get onto the back of that Ginetta and pull the rest of the pack with him. And pretty much all the way down to Sam, the top 8 really close to one another. Tim Venting dropping down the order. It is now John Goudet who's stuck behind S2M Borobex, but it's Skunky High who's actually made a second gap already to Jamal Clouden, and within 10 minutes time we're expecting rain. 10 minutes time we're expecting wet weather, and it's all about timing. Whoever gets onto the wet tire at the right time. It's going to be a light shower, not sure when it will turn heavy, but the clouds are rolling in here. And Jamal Clouden really not had the best middle and final sector, and is not really stuck with Skunky High. Skunky High there looks like he may have gained a little bit of an advantage. No, he's lost time actually to Jamal Clouden in the final sector. So Jamal Clouden gaining 2 tenths, and he wants to nail turn 1, but he's bouncing over the curb way too much there, and that's probably allowed Skunky High just to have that advantage in a straight line now. Up the hill he goes, Jamal Clouden and Sky, Beasley and Sky going at it once again, and Sky just can't quite get far enough alongside the other Aston Martin. And Jamal Clouden, straight line advantage of the BMW, drags that Ginetta back in, and Skunky High can't get away. Now this is where Jamal needs to be. Pitch perfect through the middle sector is where he needs to be spot on so he can catch that Ginetta in the faster sectors. Beasley still defending heavily from Sky, and this is Beasley's best opportunity for a championship. His championship rivals have dropped down the order. Tim Venting's dropped down to 11th. They've got a lot of cars to clear, and Max Mulder down in 16th place. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. Tracy joining us in the chat saying go Sky. And once again, Jamal Clouden making a mistake. This is allowing Skunky High to get away. 1.6 now, just in the middle sector. He gained 4 tenths. He's lost 1.2 just in one sector. So Jamal Clouden really struggling in that middle sector. A lot of the championship contenders will not be too worried about Skunky High anyway. He's quite a bit down, will be down in the points unless he has a phenomenal ender to the season. Or Richard Beasley tapping the wall as he's getting very close to the back of Jamal Clouden. And Clouden running wide there, pushing the limits a little bit too hard there. Oh, and Sky hits the wall now. 1.6 was the gap between Skunky High and Jamal Clouden, and it's now 2 seconds. So Jamal needs to get that BMW under control. And meanwhile, Gary Leach passes Matthew Duffin into turn 1, and as the moment goes off, and Matthew Duffin goes back into 5th place position. Tim Venting now clearing John Goudet, and John Goudet falling behind him. His next target is S2M Borobex, who's not really massively far away from the leading group. These three kind of dropped off the leaders. And there you go, Jamal Clouden, a lot better first sector now. And a car off, who is that? That is Sam. Who else has gone off? It's Gary Leach. He's had a moment. He's ended up in the wall and major damage and returns to the pits. Excuse me. And Jamal Clouden having a better sector 1, but here we go, sector 2 is where he loses the time. And there you go, look, he just understeers wide. And it's back to 1.9 again. So he didn't lose that much time that time round, but he's still losing that middle sector. So he's now pulled away from Richard Beasley. Beasley's now under some pressure from Sky Shundelmeyer. Matthew Duffin's trying to go into the back of him, but can't quite do so. Sam's dropped off the back of Matt. S2M Burbex is catching Sam. Meanwhile, Tim Bentinck and Goudet were catching S2M Burbex relatively quickly. And it is Smokey Devil on the move on the back against Darren Bell. And Phil Radin trying to patch DJ Phil. But, whoa, Sky Shundelmeyer going very wide in the penultimate corner there. The Skunky High comes down the main straight now. 1.9 was the gap to Jamal Clouden. It's 1.8 now, as Richard Beasley also going with him, so they need to stick with Clouden. If he's got the overall race pace on Sky High, this is where he needs to deliver it now before the rain starts to come. And this is where the BMW is strong. You see it pulling from the Aston, and there's the mistake from Beasley. He does not want to be making these mistakes here now, because he's in a championship position, second in the championship, and Clouden, his championship rival, just in front of him, his closest rival probably now. And again, Clouden makes the time up in sector 1 and then bouncing into the second sector. Beasley really pushing the limits, and Sky is right there to capitalize on any mistake that he makes. Sky just pushing the limits, trying to stick with that Aston Martin. And you see Clouden running wide. 1.4 was the gap. It's 1.9 again, so he's kind of matching the leader's pace now, but we know where he's losing that time, the second sector. What else is going on? I believe Darren Bell and Smokey Devil are racing. Smokey Devil's got that job done. S2M Burbex is onto the back of Tim Bentinck. And there is Tim Bentinck being put under pressure from S2M Burbex. He made a mistake earlier on, dropped down the order, so he can work his way up. Sam's just in front of him. He's not, and the leading pack aren't massively far away from Tim, so he could slowly work his way back up. If anything happens, he could gain an advantage from it. But Skunky High coming around to complete another lap, and once again Clouden just matches Sky, looking to the inside of turn 1, but thought better of it and just sits behind Beasley. We are halfway through the race, and we will end the pole there. But it's still Skunky High leading the way from Jamal Clouden, from Beasley, from Sky Shundelmeyer. Sky is on the move. He's trying to find a way through on the fellow Aston Martin driver. He's right up the rear wing of Beasley and can't find a way through going into the bus stop. It is risky to do so. Beasley's gone wide. He's slid the car and he's got it facing the right way again. But Beasley, a slight mistake into the bus stop. Probably pressure from Sky, and that's what he needed to get through. So Sky moves up into third place position. His next target is Clouden. Can he do anything about Skunky High? That's the question. As once again into this middle sector, Skunky High might gain an advantage, or is Clouden starting to creep onto the back of him? You can see there the BMW just understeer, and that's going to allow Sky Shundelmeyer just to get a little bit closer once again. P. Radin still sticking to the back of DJ Phil. Well in, Sky High, lad, says Lucas Roth, aka Keeks. In 2 seconds, again, a 10th this time he gained on the middle sector from previous, and Sky is the one to watch now. Sky clearing Beasley. He was giving him a bit of a headache. He's cleared him now. Oh, it's Skunky High goes very wide in the penultimate corner. That's got to be a track limits warning for himself. 8 minutes to go. We could possibly start to see some rain falling. 2 seconds was the gap between Clouden and Skunky High. What other fights are going on? S2 and Borobex is still on the back of Tim. Tim's really not getting away from S2 and Borobex right now. And you can see on the side there all the weights that are on the cars. And once again, Clouden makes the time in the first sector. Sky goes with him. But they kind of need to work together to try and get Skunky High. Sam's starting to catch Matthew Duffin a little bit here. So maybe Sam can do something about here. Meanwhile, Holling's going to lose out to Smoky Devil. And through goes Smoky Devil up into 10th place position. It is round 2 for Clouden and Sky. Can Clouden hold on to this time? But the longer they take to fight, the more and more chance the Skunky High will pull away. So we'll see how that goes. And as I said, Sam was catching Matthew Duffin, and he has done. The rain is pouring now. We have got rain here. Track is still set to fast, so we're not into greasy conditions yet. But how wet is it going to get? That is the question. As you can see, the wipers have now come on. And Sky Shundermeyer is right there. It is a repeat of race 1. Skunky High leading from Clouden from Sky. And will the rain be the equalizer again? Skunky High towards the line once again. 2.1 was the gap. And it's 2.2. So he's now starting to pull with the wet conditions coming down. Matthew Duffin trying to extend that gap from Sam. And he has done ever so slightly. But now Tim Venting is starting to join the party. And once again, it is DJ Phil and Raiden to the back of the pack. Trying to catch Bell by the looks of things. Chevy and the Alpine, the 2 cars separate to every other car here. At the back of the pack at the minute. Skunky High through sector 1, and again losing that time to the BMW ever so slightly, as was the Aston. And Sam got within 4/10 of Matthew Duffin. The curbs are now starting to get greasy, and now track has gone green. It is now going to start getting slippy around here, and I think this is where the Aston Martin is at an advantage now. Oh, slight bump there from Sky, I think. But he lifted and allowed Clouden to get a little bit unsettled, and track's gone greasy. So it's now greasy. The rain is coming down. When does it go to wet or damp? Problem is, Sky High is going to be the first one to enter all these corners and know what is coming his way. As Goudet goes through ahead of Smoky Devil, and Raiden still can't find a way past DJ Phil. But we go back to the Sky Shundermeyer Clouden fight. And Sky looks to the inside of penultimate corner, can't get the job done. Brilliant racing from these two, very clean, very respectful. A little bit of door banging previously, but nonetheless they've been clean and fair. Clouden makes a mistake. Clouden runs wide and clobbers the wall, but he knows that BMW grunt will save him. And he stays ahead for now. Meanwhile, Sam has really caught the back of Matthew Duffin, and he's brought Tim Venting with him. Sky has a run on Clouden, but he can't out-drag the BMW. The rain is falling more and more as we're going to start slowly seeing the wet conditions. When do we start seeing the spray? Nothing coming off the back of ever so slightly now. We're starting to see some spray coming from the back of the cars. The tiniest of sprays. As Sky really gets close to the back of Jamal Clouden once again, and now Sam is right on the back of Matthew Duffin, but he's got Tim Venting hustling him at the same time. So Sam running a little bit wide there. And that's allowing Matt just to creep away ever so slightly. Meanwhile, Sky has managed to find the gap. As Clouden, oh no, he hasn't. So maybe a little tap and he lifted, maybe gave the position back to Clouden, or just the drag of that BMW saving him. And I think Clouden's got a little bit deep into the right-hander. Sky Boo, you got this, says Tracy in the chat, and Sky is trying everything. He's going to try and go around the outside, use the karting line in the wet conditions. Can't get the job done there. Once again, Sky High is going to just increase his lead. More and more these two fight. Meanwhile, Sam has dropped off the back of Matthew Duffin. DJ Phil has got a stop and go penalty for for speeding in the pit lane. If he's gone to wets, then that strategy's gone out the window straight away, as Sky still looking to find a way on Clouden, but Tim Venting looked very close to the back of Sam earlier on as he go into possibly 2 more laps around this circuit, and it's just going to keep getting wetter and wetter. The curbs are going to get loose, and Tim gets a bit loose. Tim climbing the hill, looking for any opportunity to find a way through. He can't do so. Meanwhile, Sky's just dropped off the back of Clouden. Smoky Devil's pitted as well. He's got major damage to the car. Luckily, Tim Venting giving Sam a hard time has allowed Matthew Duffin this bit. And there, Tim has a look up the inside. Sam sees him coming, gives him a space, keeps his foot planted to the ground. There's a little bit more grip on the outside in the wet, and he keeps it pinned. And Tim's going to try and go around the outside of Sam this time, but Sam going deep into the corner, runs wide, but still managing to hold on to that position. But I think Tim's had a much better exit, and through they go. Beasley's at a moment because now Duffin's right behind him, and Tim's going to go right round the outside of Sam, and Sam stays there. Sky, meanwhile, still on the back of Clouden. Great racing from these GT4s. Meanwhile, Duffin's going to send it on Beasley up the inside, and Beasley losing points. Or is he? He's going to stay there. Tim Venting's gone wide. Sam's dropped the rear. They're really starting to struggle now in these conditions. Matthew Duffin now up into 4th. Not quite on the podium positions here as Tim Venting sideways. But Sky High coming towards the line to start his final lap, his final tour round here. Sky Shundemeyer still pressurising Clouden. He's pushing him right to the limit. And at the minute, Sky is not able to find a way through. Meanwhile, Duffin, Beasley, Sam, Venting all together. Esteban Borobex 8th. Goudet 9th, Holling 10th, Raiden 11th, Bell 12th, Max Mulder up into 13th after his drive through at the start. And he's at, whoa! He has a big moment as Smoky Devil comes back out of the pits, DJ Phil and then Gary Leach. But we go back to this fight. Clouden and Sky, not quite close enough, so we look back to these 4. Tim Venting lost momentum. Beasley looking to try and get past Duffin again. These last couple laps are going to be very sketchy here. The last couple of corners with these wet conditions, it's just going to get trickier and trickier just towards the end. And Beasley trying anything and everything there. The spray again starting to become more of a showing, meaning it's getting wetter. That Smoky Devil facing the wrong way, and how no one hit him, I don't know. But Sky Shundemeyer looks like he's got a run. Not quite. Clouden hangs in there once again. That straight line advantage is saving the BMW, and now we go to damp. It is wet tyre conditions, and Clouden's gone wide. Sky is having a twitch. All the cars now just surviving this race, but it's been lights to flag once again. Sky's gone in the wall in the background, but it's been lights to flag once again for the skunky high 5 car. The 302, the Ginetta driver, taking a grand slam tonight, winning every race, fastest lap and pole position. Congratulations to him. He wins. Clouden will finish in second place. Third will be Sky Schondermeyer. And coming home for fourth with fuel this time is Matthew Duffin. Fifth is going to be Beasley. Sixth is going to be Sam. Seventh is going to be Tim Ventink. Eighth is going to be S2M Borobex. John Goudet finishing in ninth. Holling will finish in 10th. 11th will be Raiden. Smoky Devil is going to come home for 14th. Bell will finish in 12th. 13th will be Max Mulder. DJ Phil in 15th. And Gary Leach in 16th place position. Wow. That got really exciting towards the end. But it was this man, Skunky High, taking the win. 2 double race wins there. I will get Jamal Clouden in. I'm not sure if we'll leave Skunky High another time if he races next week. Obviously, I'm not sure if he's able to chat, but we'll get at least Jamal Clouden in and have a chat with him. And Matthew Duffin probably getting the tables done for me. While we're at it, we will get a poll out for driver of the day. Brilliant racing from all the guys here. Tricky conditions, especially in these GT4s, but nonetheless, it was good to watch. As I just get the driver of the days sorted, as Jamal Clouden has joined me in the commentary box, I believe. Yes, he has. Clouden, an interesting night's worth of racing for yourself, and you've been pretty much stuck to Sky pretty much all race.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. First of all, massive shout out to Sky, like, amazing driving. Congrats on P2 in race 1 and congrats on P3 in race 2. Yeah, do you know what, the car felt absolutely amazing today. I couldn't fault it. Just the way, just how quick it was down the straightaways. It did struggle in sector 2. I noticed that massively, but sector 1s and 3, yeah, absolutely couldn't fault it.
Like you said, the BMW monstrous in a straight line, but Skunky High, obviously his first event here, just obviously no weight on the car either, but in that genetic, it seemed rapid though for you. Like sector 2 is looked like where you're losing all the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, sector 2 was where I was struggling most. I just felt like the car was understeering quite a bit, but it was manageable. But yeah, that Janetta was just, yeah, he was just gone. There was just no competition for him today.
Indeed. Obviously, with it getting changeable conditions as well, started off dry, went to wet. How was the BMW? It's quite a twitchy car in general. When it started to get wetter, were you starting to panic a little bit? Because Sky's Aston looks like it was planted pretty much all night long.
No, I was actually still fairly comfortable. I knew where I made the mistake. I think it was into turn 1. The brakes, the car just didn't want to slow down, and then Sky had a better run on me going up onto the back straight. But all in all, the conditions were meant for me.
Obviously, we now forget about the GT4s. We now look to the GT3 on a pro night. Looks like we have got much hotter conditions for the pro night, to the point that they put a warning out for dehydration. So make sure you stay like you got enough water.
Yep.
How are you feeling in the McLaren around Watkins Glen?
Again, I'm feeling comfortable around Watkins. I love Watkins. Personally, it is a McLaren track. Just the way with the elevation changes around this track, it suits it. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling comfortable for Thursday for sure. And
obviously we'll talk to GT4s again. Next race on the calendar is Zandvoort, a circuit where the BMW might struggle, but I have been proven wrong many times. I thought it was going to struggle at Suzuka, and Fury still managed to win there. But how are you feeling about Zandvoort for the GT4 and the BMW?
I'm not looking forward to it, I'll be honest. It's definitely got a very weird flow to it. Again, elevation changes, and because that the track is quite narrow, there's just no room for error whatsoever. So yeah, I'm not looking comfortable going into next week. But again, we'll give it our best.
Well, nonetheless, mate, I want to congratulate you and Sky for a fantastic night's worth of racing. And to be honest, Skunky High has been really good, but I have to give my driver today to the pair of you. You put on a fantastic show and thoroughly enjoyed it, and you really displayed tonight what GT4 racing is all about. So congratulations on the podium and on driver of the day from myself as well.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And Sky does win overall driver of the day thanks to you guys in the votes. It's gone the way of Sky Shunamaya, but nonetheless, these two put on a fantastic show. Skunky High, though, unbeatable here tonight, was fantastic, and he got the Grand Slam. We will see you guys tomorrow night for the Pro-Ams, as they will then take on Watkins Glen, as I believe they have got a little bit of rain lingering as well, so we see how those guys get on. But from myself and everyone here at SimPlay Motorsport, it is good night, and we'll see you tomorrow night.